This is the Rugby Odds, where an unlikely pundit panel of a wordsmith, a WWE legend, a rugby star, and a supermodel scour the globe, seeking best bets and bad behavior. Are you not entertained? Greetings and salutations, gentlemen. Unlike my beloved New York Mets, we put it all together last weekend, going 22-14 collectively. And John is not here despite having a 6-3 record because he's so upset with the results from the Ryder Cup that he was inconsolable in the green room. We found some sedatives behind the medicine cabinet. We gave him them. We're not sure if he's going to make the show or not, but he's just sobbing away like a schoolgirl right now. It's kind of embarrassing, but we march on. We keep it going, and I just wanted to, loosely open the panel up before we get to our recurring segments. Mike, anything that's on the top of your mind before we get to what caught your eye?
Not really, no.
Mike, it's a talk show.
I know. I'm trying to think what is on my mind.
All right. Well, you're thinking. Let's go to Gift.
Whenever you're doing videos about every try or the best try for each team of each match, people really underestimate how many games you've had to do, and almost 50 videos that need to be done within 3 weeks. This was a great Rugby World Cup, but goodness, there's a lot of videos to get done in that. There's a challenge. I don't know why I thought I did it, but watch Gift Time Rugby on TikTok or Instagram, but TikTok first, and YouTube.
What are we watching exactly?
The best try for each team of each match of the Women's Rugby World Cup 2025.
I hope you don't get sued.
Actually, no. You know what? They already tried to copyright claim me, and they approved my stuff. So it looks like they're not the same people that do the men's one, which means they actually have sense. Yeah, which is a big thing.
Imagine that, allowing promotion.
Did you see the top tries that they put in the shortlist?
I saw that. I don't give a their tries.
Which one? Which one are you going for?
Again, I'm doing it for each team. So.
I know, but there was five. There was five in the World Rugby one. There was an England one. There was a New Zealand one. There was a Fijian one, and there was an Italian one.
That's four.
There's only four.
I go in without bias. I need to go off of my own tribulation. I'll get back to you for next week on that.
Yeah. No. That's what it is, though. Is they are 4 quality tries, which just shows how far the women's game's come. The continuity, the speed, the skill levels, and the handling, and the way that they keep the ball alive for each of those 4 tries. And they're 4 different teams.
If they at minimum have the one. If they have the one for Canada that went to Alison Corrigan, they got the one that it's Ellie Kildun that crossed basically across the field, which she did that like 3 times within this tournament. Yeah. That crossed basically across the field, and they didn't have one that had Braxton Sorensen for New Zealand. Then I put on.
They didn't have any of those 3.
I put on their choices then.
But you seriously have a look at them and.
Wow.
Because all of those are quite individualistic tries. When you look at these ones, mate, the team tries, and the way they interpass, it's fair play.
Look at this. There was absolutely nothing going on, and it turned into a little cat fight.
Right, show's over, right? We gotta go.
Yeah, so there goes Mike. He's gone. Gift's gone.
Over. We're out.
Gift's working legs right now. That's why he's able to sit down. All right, fellas, let's piggyback that positive momentum and go to our first recurring segment. What caught your eye? Mike Friday, what caught your eye?
Well, you've mentioned it off camera, but we saw our first 20-minute red in the Premiership, and literally it was within the first 30 seconds.
Yeah,
it was tough. I mean, it by the letter of the law it was a red, but it was a 2-man tackle that ended up being lifted above the horizontal, so he had to go. But that poor kid that went, Nathan Mikolo, he's a great kid. He played in the 20s with Lucas when they won the World Cup.
Lucas, of course, is Mike Friday's son, Lucas.
And he
let's go.
He didn't deserve it, but what a tough start to his season. But yeah, I think it is a positive addition.
Do you have a problem with it because you know the kid, because he's your son's friend, and how relieved are Saracens fans that it's a 20-minute red card?
I mean, it was a red. It was a 20-minute red. So I'm just gutted it was for him because he's a young man still trying to find his way. But absolutely it didn't spoil the game, and it was a suitable sanction because it wasn't intentional. It wasn't barbaric behaviour or foul play. It was unintentional, and it was an accident. But unfortunately, in the game, it needs to be warranted and stamped out. So I think it's a positive inclusion is my point. And
the 20-minute red.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
And shout out to him being aggressive on the play regardless, all right? Even if it was a mistake, even if it was accidental, nobody got hurt. But all we know is, hey, that boy is going to be aggressive later on. We just got to control it. Just got to focus. You got a little bit of jitters.
So, Gift, you're promoting tip tackling, Gift. You're promoting tip tackling is what you're doing right now.
I promote, hey, man, it's a banging game.
He's promoting safe tip tackling.
I'd give you an orange card right now, Gift, if I had one in my hand. Gift, what caught your eye?
Women's Rugby World Cup championship finals were spectacularly done. I'm not happy. Let me reset that. I'd rather the results have gone the other way, but I'm still happy with the results, even if it was England, because regardless, it was a good match. And shout out to both Asia Hogan Rochester and Ellie Kildun, because if anybody has come out as stars in this Rugby World Cup, I think these two really stand out amongst the most. And that's from a list that has come from this one, whether it's Braxton Sorensen, Seus out of France, Corrigan. Well, Goody was already big time, but like just a straight line. But those two, oh my goodness, they are ridiculous.
They were able to do what they wanted to do because of the work of the forwards for England, who were dominant, and Ward and Tollings, and we'll talk about Tollings later.
That England team, especially with a strong Canada pack, that was a fantastic watch, and it was good to see them finally get it at home. Give it credit.
I think also as well, like it was closer than the scoreline. I think
I agree.
England were very fortunate with two big calls, which ended up giving them 14 points. Right, two times Canada were on the line. They picked one out of the ruck, which was clearly not out, and the Canada were just about to score. And then they had 4 or 5 penalties against England 5 meters out, and nothing got done. I mean, don't get me wrong, and we'll talk about it. The England forwards were the difference, and they won that battle. But it was a tighter game than the scoreline, and it was a great final.
Listen, aside from everything else, we know names now of women players. The marketing, the game itself, the product on the field. Now we know these players' names, which is a great thing. Kids know these players' names. That's a great thing to grow the game of rugby. What caught my eye this week was the Stormers annihilating Leinster, and that's a whole different topic. You're kicking off the URC season. You got two great teams, and you just don't send anybody down from Leinster. It should be half off your beer and half off your ticket if that's going to be the fact with these lineups going forward. Sharks did the same thing up in Glasgow, but that's not what I'm here to talk about. I want to talk about the number 10, Fury Mattia. I'm sure I'm butchering that name. He's the number 10. He was excellent. 3 conversions, 3 penalty goals, a highlight reel try off a rousing run. But he plays for the Stormers, who have Manny Lebuck and Sasha Feinberg Ngomazulu, who just was on fire this week, and we'll talk about him in a bit. So that team's got 3 fly halves, and Mike, we were talking off camera, they could bounce him around a little bit with his versatility, but I'm like, don't fix something that ain't broke. I mean, that performance that he had for the Springboks was just crazy. And with that, let's go to our second recurring segment, Player of the Week. The candidates are Springboks number 10, Sasha Feinberg Ngomazulu, had a match for the ages, 37 points, 3 tries, 187 meters rushing, engineered the end of the first half score with no time on the clock, and another immediately out of the sheds in the second half, while his team was short-handed for both. The New Zealand All Blacks, number 9, Cam Roigard, stunning return to international duty after a foot fracture with 2 tries, had former All Blacks Stephen Donald and Mills Muliaina comparing him to Antoine Dupont. And Henry Arundel started his Bath career with 2 tries, a nifty assist after a great run on another, and it looked exceptional playing with center Ollie Lawrence. Mike, who's your player of the week?
I think this is easy. I mean, Stephen Donald and Mills Muliaina need to check what they were drinking, comparing Roigard to Anton Dupont at the moment. I mean, he's a good player, but come on now.
To tweak that a little bit, they didn't necessarily say he's on that level now, but they said he will be.
Well, I think he's got to do a fair bit to be maybe. Anyway, this is a no-brainer. It's Sasha, baby. I mean, that is phenomenal stats. Phenomenal impact, not just with the boot, but also his running game. So it sounds like everything just worked for him that day, and he was in the zone, and he delivered. So yeah, he's the boy this week.
Gift.
I didn't have time to give my submissions before it was time to. So honorable mention on this one, Ellie Kildun. 2 tries, especially one off of a kick of hers that she straight up athletically caught on her own for a try, which was just amazing. But since, I'm going to allow this to stick to the rules and stick with management, I'm going to go with Sasha Feinberg and Zulu because 37 points, 3 tries, 100. That's crazy stats.
Crazy.
That's crazy stats. Regardless.
And every single time he touched the ball, you thought something was going to happen. Cross kick, like he did with Cheslin Colby, just amazing. So I'm going to make it unanimous. Sasha Feinberg Ngomazulu as the player of the week. And that allows us to move on to Gift's favorite segment. The candidates are Jasper Visa, or Jasper Weiss in American. The number 8 for the Springboks was punishing carrying the ball and tackling for 70-plus minutes and just relentless getting the start at the back of the pack. Glasgow hooker Johnny Matthews had 2 tries, hard carries in a typical Johnny Matthews-type performance. And Morwenna Talling, the England lock, who earned high praises from Mike Friday, which means you were exceptional. Mike, who is your grown-ass man/woman?
It has to be Talling. She was, and she was pushed hard by the other second row for England, Abby Ward. They were monumental in the maul at line-out time, but also their physical carrying against the very, very robust Canada pack. And it was that carrying, it was that go forward, it was that directness and dynamism by those two, and Talling just edges it, which was the difference that gave England the platform to do what they needed to do. So for me, Talling, she had an outstanding game. Fantastic. She did it on the biggest stage at the most important time.
Gift.
Again, forgot to put my submissions before I finished doing review and analysis. So honorable mention again, and you're going to keep this on because we're not editing. All right. Asia Hogan Rochester. No, again, 2 tries, but more importantly, was one of the biggest tacklers on that one side of the ball that forced England a lot to play against the 14 versus the 11. Amazing all year round, but all tournament round, but 8 honorable mention to her. But Morwenna Talling, amazing, absolutely dominating inside the pack. Call it what it is.
And what
I'm
it
giving
is.
praise to England for the first time ever.
And what it is that we are unanimous again. Oh, my goodness. The first time in the Rugby Odds history we are unanimous yet again on both of these picks. Morwenna Talling.
Grown-ass bowman.
On that note, we're going to take a break. Bring in George. He's going to yell about some stuffs again, and then we'll bring you back in for picks. So don't go away. We'll be right back. You need your cleats? You need them tomorrow? If you order today by 3 p.m. New York time or noon LA time, they can have them to you tomorrow. Young, old, male, female, if you're playing on turf, if you're playing on grass, if you're playing in the rain, you're playing in the heat, they've got you covered. RugbyNow.com. Go there now. From New York City comes America's longest running and most popular rugby show. The biggest names in Major League Rugby, MLR highlights, and big match previews. Rugby Wrap-Up presents MLR Weekly, made in New York City. And we are back, and once again we have the privilege of Mr. George Hook calling in from Ireland and joining us. George, great to see you. I heard you were golfing.
Well, golfing with my 16-year-old grandson. It was his birthday, and I brought him to Portmarnock Golf Links, probably one of the great courses of the world. And I had a caddy for him, so he had somebody carrying his bag, and it was fun.
Who won?
16-year-old against an 84-year-old is a no contest.
I still don't know who won.
I know, but you ought to know.
Okay. I'm going to go with the wisdom.
No, the wisdom doesn't work in golf. No. Golf is like rugby. It's a physical sport, you know. My legs and shoulders and everything else isn't quite the same.
Okay, fair enough. But I know that everybody's on the edge of their seats, and what I say to them is, how do you keep an idiot in suspense? I'll tell you tomorrow. With that, let's get to our recurring segment.
Headlines with Hook.
The first headline, the Women's World Cup. George, your opinion.
Well, the first thing, it was an amazing success. the final in front of 80,000 people in Twickenham. Women's rugby has never seen the likes of that. That's point one. Point two is, can they now build on that? Because if women's rugby goes backwards, then this has just been a flash in the pan. The worry is that England, in fact, are so much ahead of the rest of the world, partially because they have a very professional setup, but they've now gone over 60 games undefeated. If you take England out of it, Canada were magnificent. And again, to our North American audience, we've got to be worrying what's happening up there that isn't happening down here. Because don't think it's money. Canada crowd funded to get the money to go to the World Cup.
Yeah.
So they haven't got a ton of money. So I think that's the question. About England, that domination isn't good for the game. And the decline of New Zealand women isn't good for the game either. We need women's rugby to have a competitive structure. So there were a lot of good things, but there were worrying things.
But George, Canada completely tipped the apple cart with what you said. They crowdfunded, and as Gift Egbelu pointed out, it was like the rich versus the poor, and the poor almost pulled it off. And Mike Friday was pointing out two iffy calls by referees that could have cost Canada 14 points in that match.
Yeah, I mean, but England were always going to win. The main thing is Canada, I think, are a prescription for the USA. That's the key point. Like, Canada haven't got more players. Canada mightn't have a better coaching structure. The gap between Canada and the USA is not about all those things. It's about organization. And you have to say, USA organization isn't up to the job. And where is USA Rugby now? They've got a big wake-up call this time around. Ireland, for crying out loud.
Well, there's a little bit.
It's 5 million of us. It's 300 million of you. And we're better. Come on. Give me a break.
I don't have a problem with that, actually. My last name is McCarthy, so there's that. But we're going to move on to our next topic, and I know that we discussed Sasha Feinberg-Mngomezulu in the previous segment, but we can't not have you on it. So here's our second headline. Does South Africa have a fly half issue?
The biggest issue for South Africa currently is how do you pronounce this guy's name? So I can give you categorically how you pronounce it. It is Sasha Feinberg-Mngomezulu, and that comes straight from the great subcontinent of Africa. I've checked it out. And I tell you, you've got to remember his name because he's going to be around for a long time to come. This guy is special. The only other thing for me, quickly, is in the South Africa-Argentina match where you had two really good scrummaging teams. It is now perfectly obvious that if World Rugby gets its way 2 years from now, there will be no scrums in rugby union. None. They've already depowered it. Now they want to get rid of it altogether. The first week thing was when you can't opt for a scrum now with a free kick. 2 years I give the scrum with these fellas drinking port wine in the East India Club in London. They're going to destroy it.
These dirty names. They are just such dirty names, George. But I'm going to take that bet. I think scrums live at least another 3 years. But before I let you go, 30 seconds. I know it's early doors on the URC season, but is Prendergast the man for the Irish number 10 position after what we saw last week?
He never was, he isn't, and he won't be. But coaches, as we saw this weekend, the captain of the USA Ryder Cup golf team, his biggest single error was to have too much confidence in players who weren't good enough. And this is precisely what they're doing with Prendergast. They have too much confidence in him, and he's not up to it.
And I would point to the peanut gallery pissing off the European players by yelling at them and talking while they're swinging and giving them a little bit more fodder in the bulletin board in the locker room.
Yeah, but you got to come back in 2 years' time to Limerick. Then you're in for a treat.
Well, that's we deserve it then.
Don't abuse you. We'll just beat you again.
I'll take that bet too. And on that note, that's this week's
Headlines with Hook.
Thank you, George Hook.
Pleasure.
We'll be right back with great picks from Olympic Sevens coach Mike Friday, King Gift Egbelu, and yours truly after this. You need your cleats? You need them tomorrow? If you order today by 3 p.m. New York time or noon LA time, they can have them to you tomorrow. Young, old, male, female, if you're playing on turf, if you're playing on grass, if you're playing in the rain, you're playing in the heat, they've got you covered. RugbyNow.com. Go there now. From New York City comes America's longest running and most popular rugby show. The biggest names in Major League Rugby, MLR highlights, and big match previews. Rugby Wrap-Up presents MLR Weekly, made in New York City. And we are back. Always great catching up with George and having a laugh on the commercial break. But, guys, we got to get serious and make some picks right now. And we're going to start with the Rugby Championship, New Zealand versus Australia. New Zealand, the home team, -4.5. Mike.
Yeah, I think New Zealand back it up. I think they win again and they cover.
Gift.
Yeah, I think it's a back-to-back. New Zealand gets that one over Australia with the cover.
I'm going with New Zealand to cover this time, yes. And with Cam Roygord playing another vital role. The next one, at Twickenham, South Africa, -10.5 versus Argentina. Mike.
I think the change of venue is an interesting one. So I think this is a tighter game this week, a lot tighter. I think South Africa will changes again. But I'm not sure who wins, but South Africa don't cover. So the Argies might sneak a win here, or they might lose narrowly, but I think this will be a tight old affair.
Mike, as an Englishman, is it difficult for you to root for a South African team on English soil?
No. I mean, there are a lot of Saffers on UK soil, as there are a lot of Argies. So I think it will be a great event. I think it's an interesting venue to have it. And I think Argentina is deemed an Argentinian home game. So I think they're hoping for a payday.
Interesting. All right, Gift.
Man, this is actually kind of tough because both of them got a lot of travel to do on this one. I'm gonna call for. No, I'm gonna go South Africa to cover this one, but this is gonna be. I don't think this is gonna be as blowout as it was in South Africa.
Oh, that would be hard to do, but
But I think South Africa will cover this, but yeah, that change of venue is a big one.
What's that, Razzie? Sasha's not playing. Oh, no, sorry, yeah. Go on.
Yeah. Oh, they're bringing in Pollard. I mean, that's a big drop off. Whatever. I mean, they have that fly half position covered. So I'm agreeing with Gift. If for the first half it might be close, but the second half, South Africa seems to just completely turn on a different switch. And whether it's the subs or whatever, the hit squad, youth bomb squad, whatever you want to call it, they're just amazing in that second half. Next up, the URC, week 2. Mike.
Connaught at home. I think Scarlets, there is still a little bit all at sea in those Welsh regions. And I think Connaught at home, I think they'll win that game. They'll kick on and they'll cover the 9.5.
And they were a winner for me last week, so I agree with that wholeheartedly. Gift.
The Blue Ball Bulls blue-balled me last week, as expected by their names, by winning but not covering. So this week, I think the Blue Balls will actually complete what they're supposed to do and actually beat Leinster. But I think that they'll cover because Leinster brought a crap team down to South Africa because apparently nobody cares about the beginning of the season or travel.
Well, and also they had the British and Irish Lions players unavailable as well.
Excuses. Do you want to win or not? Is your only one you're getting really paid out? You know what? It's okay.
Well, what about your Sharks? What about your Sharks? Did the same thing going into Glasgow.
You know what? And this is why the Sharks always blow out into.
All right, Gift's mic has been muted because we have to move on. I'm going to go with Munster -11.5 versus Cardiff. And next, we're going to the Premiership real fast before we go to break. Mike, who do you like in the Premiership?
I'm going to go for Bath at home. I thought they were outstanding against Quins, like proper depth, played with real pace, physicality. I know Sale are decent, and Sale are a physical old outfit, and they've got George Ford putting the strings. But I think Bath win and cover at home at the Rec in what will be a great game.
All right, we're unmuting Gift so he can make his pick if he can behave. Gift, go ahead.
I can behave. Anyways, look, I'm looking at Gloucester going up against Northampton. I think Gloucester takes it. Gloucester seems like they're getting their head up. I don't know what Northampton's trying to do anymore, whether their team is in place or not, but I'm looking for Gloucester to get the win.
I'm going Saracens to beat up on a beaten-up Bristol side. Unfortunate news about A.J. McGinty and the rest of those guys getting hurt. I hope they aren't hurt seriously. Let's take a commercial. We'll come back with NPC Top 14 and Picks of the Week right after this. Hey, U.S. fans, you can tune into every match live on Flow Rugby. How do we know that? Because we're on there all the time. And we're back, and we're going to the NPC. Mike, it's week 10 of 10. Can your North Harbor guys get a win versus Southland, who's got 3 wins? And for some reason, North Harbor's favored by 4.5 points.
Jed and Tom just let me down last week. They just needed to keep it tight, you know. 0-9 on the loss, but we were still winning. We were making money. I'm actually going for Southland this week. I need to make a statement. Southland will win, and they'll get the win, and that means that the North Harbour will finish 0-10 on the loss.
Wow.
That.
Fool me once, fool me twice, don't fool me 10 times, Mike Friday says. Gift Egbelu.
Yeah, lo and behold, the 2 teams that I usually try and go for are going against each other finally. Taranaki to hold on, cover over Canterbury, which essentially means getting the win.
Oh, I'll bet you a donut that that's not the case. But I'm going to take Hawke's Bay minus 11.5 versus Manawatu. And let's go to the top 14, Mike Friday.
Well, it is customary to try and find that elusive away winner. It's not working out too well, but I've got a feeling that Bordeaux can't balls it up 2 weeks running. I think Bordeaux, if they pick their boys and they deserve to rock up and play, then I think they've got enough. So I'm going to pick Bordeaux to win on the road at Racing.
That should be a great match to watch. Gift.
Look at Toulouse minus 22 over Perpignan, and to get it there at home. And Toulouse get this one.
I'm going to go with La Rochelle, Ronan O'Gara minus 11.5 versus Claremont. Finally, John's not here, but it's his favorite segment of the week. Picks of the week, Johnny. Who do you like, Mike Friday?
Well, I think it's a home week. So I'm going to tell you, you need to pick the 5 Premiership home teams to all win. That is a quality gamble.
Wow. You really put yourself out there. Gift.
This week is South Africa week. Look for them to go 3-1. And I'm talking about South Africa, Argentina, and URC. Go 3-1 this week for South Africa.
Pigs are flying, snowballs are being thrown in Hades, and Gift just had more common sense than Mike Friday with a pick of the week. Amazing, amazing. I'm going to go with the over in the New Zealand versus Australia match, over 48 points to be scored. And on that note, we're out of time. I want to thank WWE Hall of Famer turned rugby advocate John Bradshaw Layfield, King Gift Egbelu, the inventor of words, Mike Friday, 3-time Olympic sevens coach, George Hook, the Irish rugby legend, and thank you for tuning in. Please check out MLR Weekly. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube, sign up for our weekly newsletter, and please join our American Red Cross blood donor team.